It is officially 2024, and one of my favorite things to do each year is to look back on the previous year of movies and rank my 10 favorite movies of the year. I got to see over 40 movies in 2023, so here is my top 10 favorite movies of the year. In our number 10 spot is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. A fantastic action movie that delivers. Now, I gotta be honest, I've never seen any of the other Mission Impossible movies. I am a first-time viewer of the franchise, and I gotta say, I did not need to know anything about this franchise, and it had edge-on-your-seat action. The stunt choreography is some of the best that I've ever seen in an action movie, especially the train sequence at the very end. I'm super excited to see what Tom Cruise does for the next one, as we're going to be getting a part 2 to the story, and I might even go back and revisit some of the previous movies. In our number 9 spot, we have Trolls 3. Now, Trolls 3 was on my radar ever since I saw the first trailer. I'm a pretty big fan of the franchise, but Trolls 3 blows away the previous two movies out of the water. It's a fast-paced movie with catchy songs, great characters, and even better musical sequences. I can't even lie, 2 of the songs in the movie was in my top 10 most played songs on Spotify last month. In our number 8 spot, we have Anyone But You. Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell star in this rom-com. It feels like a 2000s movie, which is kind of fresh because honestly, the newer rom-coms are not as good as they used to be. It has a ton of funny sequences, and at the end, you're rooting for these two. Rom-coms are right up my alley. There were a few problems that I had in the third act, but besides that, I thought this was one of the best rom-coms that I've ever seen. In our number 7 spot, we have John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick is one of the best action franchises of all time, and Chapter 4 takes up to the next level. Almost 3 hours long, this movie is non-stop with action. Once one action sequence ends, it goes right to another, and Keanu Reeves is at the top of his game even in his 50s. Chapter 4 is a satisfying conclusion to the entire franchise, but you still want more after you see it. And supposedly they're going to be making a Chapter 5, but I don't really know how they're going to do that after seeing the end of Chapter 4. If you know, you know. In our number 6 spot, we have The Flash. Now, this is probably the most controversial movie that I have on my top 10 list, as this film is very divided. I personally think it's the best DC movie that was ever created. Now, putting aside everything that Ezra Miller has done in his past, because he's done a lot, Ezra Miller's performance in this movie is some of the best that I've ever seen, and at the level of perks of being a wallflower. I also think The Flash would have been a more satisfying conclusion to the DC universe over Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Next up, we have Joyride. Now, Joyride was not on my radar at all until one of my favorite YouTubers, John Campia, talked about seeing this movie at CinemaCon, and I got super excited to see this movie after hearing their thoughts on the movie. This is one of the funniest comedies I think I've ever seen in my entire life. At one point in the movie, there was a sequence, and I was non-stop laughing on the edge of my seat for 2 minutes straight. I highly recommend you guys all watch this movie, and don't go in watching a trailer because I didn't, and it made the movie 10 times better. In our number 4 spot, we have Pixar's Elemental. Now, Pixar as a company has kind of went downhill over the last few years, but I feel like Elemental is the first movie in a long time that I really have a lot of hope for the company again. Now, this is Pixar's take on a rom-com, and like I said earlier with Anyone But You, rom-coms are right up my alley, and I think this one took the formula of a rom-com and kind of put it to the next level. I don't see animation as something just for kids, I see animation as a medium for better storytelling. And the way that visuals are used in this movie, I think exceeds most things that you could do in live action. And if there's one shot in the entire movie that I think represents this movie, it's this one that you see right here. This is one of the better Pixar movies, but I don't think it's top tier Pixar. I really wish they focused more on the romance and less on the conflict in the movie, because the conflict really doesn't have much to do with the overall story. But besides that, I think Elemental is one of the best romance movies that we've seen in years. Now, before we get to my top 3, I do want to give you guys an honorable mention, and that's Operation Fortune. Operation Fortune is like a spy action movie, and I had never even heard of the movie until it came out. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video right now probably even didn't hear of it, but Guy Ritchie does a great job directing it, and I highly suggest it. Okay, now let's get to our top 3, and in our number 3 spot, we have the one, the only, the highest grossing movie of 2023, Barbie. Now, going into Barbie, I didn't really know what to expect because this was not taking any inspiration from any of the toys or the 2D movies. This was Greta Gerwig's own creation. Margot Robbie does a great job showing the essence of Barbie, and oh my god, my guy Ryan as Ken. More filmmakers need to take previous known IPs and reinvent them into the world of today, and I think Greta did a great job at that. And that's why Barbie is in my number 3 spot. And in my number 2 spot is A Man Called Otto. Now, this movie came out all the way in January of 2023, so it's definitely been a while since I revisited this movie, but when I saw it back in January, I was literally in tears. It was the most emotional movie that I saw all year, and it really connected to me. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the story, it's basically an older man who just lost his wife, trying to get a gripe on the world, even though everything is just so depressing to him. Now, I did watch this movie a month after someone really close to me passed away, so it connected to me way more than I'm sure a lot of other people. But this just tears up your heart when you're watching it. And while sitting in that seat in the theater, I knew this was going to be one of my top favorite movies of the year. But as the year went on, there was one more movie that topped off A Man Called Otto, and that was The Creator. The Creator is one of the best science fiction movies I've ever seen. It takes the AI aspect, but it doesn't really do what we know about AI. It gives it more a personality. And on an $80 million budget, it pushes the boundaries. Comparing it to other big budgeted movies that have over 150 million, this movie looked 5 times better than those. And while watching the movie, you get to know these characters. There is an AI kid, a middle-aged man, and you get to see their bond form over time. And it was that human connection in the movie that made it go up to my #1 spot. And that is my top 10 favorite movies of 2023. Before we go, I want to take a look back at the beginning of the year when I made my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Now you're going to see the lists are very, very different. Only 4 of the movies on my most anticipated made my top 10 of the year. A lot of the movies that I saw this year were under my radar and I wasn't even aware of them when making that video last year. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite movie in all of 2023? And do you agree with my list? And if you don't agree with it, what would you change about it? Did I leave out your favorite movie of the year? Let me know. Now, if you guys are not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button because in 2024, I am launching a movie-related podcast with my friend Liam. But we're going to be having a podcast to talk about all things film and TV at some point this year, and I really hope you guys go and watch that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time when I rank my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024.